Welcome to History Uncovered, where we delve into the stories and events that have shaped our world. If you're a fan of history and love learning about the people and events that have shaped our world, then be sure to hit that subscribe button below. We release new videos every day, so you'll always have something new to discover. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when our latest episodes are released, and you'll be supporting us in our mission to bring fascinating stories from the past to a wider audience. If you have ideas of what we should make a video about next, let us know in the comment section. In this episode, we will be exploring the life and legacy of one of the most famous military commanders in history, Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in Corsica in 1769, and at a young age, he showed a great talent for military strategy. He was educated at military schools in France, and in 1785, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the French army. Over the next few years, Napoleon proved himself as a skilled and innovative military commander. He rose through the ranks quickly, and in 1796, he was appointed as the commander of the French army in Italy. He quickly defeated the Austrians, and his victories in Italy made him a national hero in France. Napoleon's success in Italy was due to his unconventional military tactics, which were a departure from the rigid methods of the time. He relied on speed, surprise, and the element of surprise to win battles. He was also a master of deception, often making his opponents believe that he was weaker than he actually was. In 1799, Napoleon overthrew the government of France in a coup d'état, and he was appointed as the first consul of France. He consolidated his power, and in 1804, he declared himself Emperor of France. Napoleon then embarked on a series of military campaigns that would make him one of the most powerful rulers in Europe. Napoleon's military campaigns were characterized by his use of innovative tactics and his ability to adapt to changing circumstances. He was a master of the art of war, and his victories were often decisive and swift. He defeated the armies of several European powers, including Austria, Prussia, and Russia, and he established a vast empire that stretched across much of Europe. Napoleon's empire was based on a system of client states, which were ruled by members of Napoleon's family and loyal allies. These states were essentially puppets of France, and they were used to exert French influence over Europe. Napoleon also introduced many reforms in the territories he conquered, such as the Napoleonic Code, which standardized French law and abolished feudalism. The Italian campaign of 1796 to 1797 was a significant turning point in the career of Napoleon Bonaparte. At the time, France was fighting a series of wars against several European powers, including Austria and the Kingdom of Sardinia. In March 1796, Napoleon was appointed commander of the Army of Italy, which was tasked with securing the border between France and Italy and pushing back the Austrians. Napoleon was a relatively unknown general at the time, but he quickly set about implementing a bold and innovative strategy that would ultimately lead to victory. He recognized that the key to success in Italy was speed and mobility. Rather than fighting set-piece battles against the Austrians, he chose to use a series of fast-moving columns to outmaneuver the enemy and strike at their weak points. Napoleon's use of artillery was also a key factor in his success during the Italian campaign. He recognized that artillery could be used to create breaches in enemy fortifications, allowing his troops to storm the defenses and capture key positions. He also used artillery to provide covering fire for his troops as they advanced, keeping the enemy pinned down and unable to maneuver effectively. One of Napoleon's most famous victories during the Italian campaign was the Battle of Lodi in May 1796. The Austrians had positioned themselves on the far side of the Adda River, which was spanned by a single narrow bridge. Rather than waiting for reinforcements, Napoleon led a daring charge across the bridge under heavy fire, securing a key victory for the French. This victory not only demonstrated Napoleon's skill as a military commander, but it also boosted the morale of his troops and helped to establish him as a national hero in France. By the end of the Italian campaign, Napoleon had achieved a series of decisive victories over the Austrians and the Kingdom of Sardinia. He had captured key cities and fortresses, including Milan and Mantua, and had established French control over much of northern Italy. His success in the campaign was due in no small part to his innovative strategies and his ability to motivate and inspire his troops. The Italian campaign cemented Napoleon's reputation as a brilliant military strategist and helped to propel him to even greater heights of power and influence in the years to come. It also set the stage for his subsequent campaigns, which would ultimately lead to his crowning as Emperor of France and his domination of Europe. The Austerlitz Campaign of 1805 was one of Napoleon's most impressive military victories. It began in August of that year when Napoleon's Grande Armée, consisting of over 200,000 soldiers, crossed the Rhine River into Austria. The campaign was part of the broader War of the Third Coalition, which pitted France against an alliance of Austria, Russia, Sweden, and Great Britain. The campaign got off to a rocky start for the French, with several setbacks and reversals in the early battles. However, Napoleon was able to rally his troops and reorganize his forces, ultimately leading to a decisive victory over the combined Russian and Austrian armies at the Battle of Austerlitz on December 2, 1805. The Battle of Austerlitz is often considered one of Napoleon's greatest victories. Facing an enemy force that outnumbered his own, Napoleon used a combination of deception, misdirection, and skillful maneuvering to outflank and defeat the Russian and Austrian armies. He famously allowed the enemy to believe that his army was weaker than it actually was, leading them to overextend their own forces and expose their flank to attack. This allowed Napoleon to launch a devastating assault that ultimately shattered the enemy's lines and forced their retreat. The victory at Austerlitz was a turning point in the War of the Third Coalition. It effectively ended Austria's involvement in the war and forced Russia to withdraw from the conflict. It also established Napoleon as the dominant military power in Europe and cemented his reputation as a brilliant military strategist. The Austerlitz campaign was significant not only for its military successes but also for its impact on European politics. The defeat of Austria and Russia led to a reordering of the European balance of power, with France emerging as the dominant force on the continent. It also paved the way for Napoleon to establish the Confederation of the Rhine, a collection of German states allied with France, which helped to further solidify his power in Europe. Overall, the Austerlitz Campaign of 1805 was a remarkable achievement for Napoleon and his armies. It demonstrated his ability to adapt to changing circumstances, outmaneuver his opponents, and achieve decisive victories even in the face of daunting odds. Despite his military success, Napoleon's ambition ultimately led to his downfall. He invaded Russia in 1812, but his army was defeated by the harsh Russian winter and the scorched earth tactics of the Russian army. The defeat in Russia weakened Napoleon's empire, and in 1814, he was forced to abdicate as Emperor of France. Napoleon was exiled to the island of Elba, but he escaped and returned to France in 1815. He raised a new army, but he was defeated by the British and their allies at the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon was once again exiled, this time to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. He died there in 1821, at the age of 51. Napoleon's legacy is a complex one. He is remembered as a military genius and a charismatic leader, but also as a ruthless conqueror who caused untold suffering and death. His impact on Europe was immense, and his ideas and military strategies continue to influence military leaders to this day. One of Napoleon's most enduring legacies is his system of meritocracy, which rewarded individuals based on their abilities rather than their social status. This system was used in the French army and administration, and it was later adopted by other countries. Napoleon's influence on art, culture, and society was also significant. He was a patron of the arts and sciences, and he sponsored many cultural projects. He also encouraged the study of science and technology, which helped to fuel the Industrial Revolution. In conclusion, Napoleon Bonaparte was one of the most significant figures in world history. His military campaigns and conquests helped to shape the political and social landscape of Europe, and his ideas and innovations continue to influence military leaders and strategists to this day. While his legacy is a complex one, it is undeniable that he was a towering figure of his time and that his impact on the world was immense. Thank you for watching this episode of History Uncovered. If you found this video informative and engaging, please like and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories from the past. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications so that you never miss a new video.